Welcome back. I'm your host, Kelle Sparta, transformational shaman and spiritual coach. Today, we have Andrea here, and she's going to get a spiritual evolution energy review, also known as a SEER reading on our website. On my website, I don't know why I said our, but because I'm tired. Yeah.
Lit.
And so we're going to get started on this. We're going to jump right in because these tend to be longer. So we're going to hop right in and do this. We did have a little conversation before the podcast started. And so she's got all the downloads on everything. And so we are ready to go. So, Andrea, do I have permission to enter into your energy field for the purposes of this reading?
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. And before I get started, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and rate and review. All these things are super helpful for helping us to get the podcast seen by more people. And I would really appreciate it. And I do really appreciate all the ones we've already gotten. You guys rock. Thank you. All right, so let's get started.
Okay.
Okay. So as I come up to your aura, the first thing I see, and initially what I saw was not much there. But then what they showed me was like wide open spaces. Have you ever been to Montana?
Not yet.
Okay. So they call it big sky country.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know what that means until you go there. And it is
Okay.
freaking big sky, man. It's like sky like you've never seen, right?
Okay.
And that's sort of the impression that I get as I'm coming up to you is like the world is full of unlimited possibilities, is the energy that I've got around you right now. So it feels like you're in this sort of questioning space where you're like looking at all the possibilities. So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm going to say about that is that the human brain has a really hard time with too many possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's two phases to decision making. There's the percolating and gathering all the possibilities,
Okay.
and the just sort of sitting in the soup
Yeah.
of them and not actually trying to make a decision, but just like gathering.
I live there.
And so the gathering is great for being in this sort of wide open possibility space. But when you go to start making decisions, I would highly encourage you, before you try to pick something, is to start eliminating things. Because when you try to pick from as many possibilities as you're going to be gathering in this space, your brain's going to go into overwhelm and shut down. And you're going to be like, I don't know. I lack clarity, right? It's because you have too many choices. Okay. You want to bring it down to max 3 choices. And so you want to start eliminating things first. And so when you've been in a massive gathering, you're like, okay, not that, not that, not that, not that. Okay. And just keep going from there. Now, on my YouTube channel, there are a couple of videos called Stuckville. One is Stuckville Straight and the other is Stuckville Funny. Funny is what happens when you have my friend Kathy be on camera and don't give her anything to do. He is a graduate of Second City's improv program, and it shows. But it's very funny. I recommend it. But the Stuckville Straight has a little more information. But the idea, the short answer to this for you is I feel like as I'm feeling into this energy and into the decision-making process for you, I feel like you're going to be in this, I got to make the right choice, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, right. Right has different definitions, right? Sometimes we need to do something that isn't the thing we're going to end up doing in order to find the thing we're going to end up doing, or to avoid doing something that is tangential to the thing instead of the thing itself. And so we have to figure out we don't like this thing in order to like the next thing that's the right path, right? So you got to be very careful about right. And being like, if it gives you more information, if it gets you closer because you've learned something you don't want, or you've gotten an angle on it or whatever, then it's success, right?
Yeah.
And so everything we do ultimately is the right thing to do, because
Right.
it's the path that takes us where we need to go.
Okay.
Okay. And so I want you to stay out of the right, quote unquote,
Mhm.
and instead go with what does your body feel good about it? About when you think
Mm.
about it, does your energy go up? Does it stay neutral or does it go down?
Okay.
Do you feel excited and energized or do you feel exhausted? Right? Or do you
Okay.
just feel meh? Right?
Right.
So unless it is excited and enthusiastic and energized, that's not your path, right?
Okay.
So I want you to go with that. Stay out of your head and make your choice from your body, and you'll get a better outcome. Okay.
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 Perfect.
All right. So everything out here. Yes, that's everything that they wanted you to know there. Let's come into your aura now. Fair warning, I've been told I tickle. So if you
Yeah.
have any shields set up, this would be the time to say, hey, Kelly's allowed inside. Okay. Okay. So you ever see those jugglers who are sitting on a unicycle on top of a board, on top of a can, and they're juggling?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's the image I get as I look at you.
Okay.
Okay. It's this sort of sense of trying to stay in balance while you take care of everything that you're trying to take care of and trying to make it look all effortless and flawless at the same time. Right. And it's like, no, I've got this. It's fine. Look at me. I'm entertaining. I'm entertaining. Shit, I hope I don't fall and drop everything. Right. It's that.
Hmm.
Right. And so, part of this is about it feels like a performance and it's performative for the people around you to say, hey, I'm okay.
Mm.
Right. So it's not like you're trying to get attention with it. It's you're trying to be like, I got it all good. I got it
Okay.
covered. Right. It's that, pay no attention to the man behind the mirror, right? Behind the
Right.
curtain.
Right. Right.
Right. And so it's that sort of thing. And it's very interesting because I don't feel like you have that much stuff going on. It doesn't feel like you're like juggling a massive amount of things. The juggling seems to be more of the performance aspect.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's about staying in balance while managing to look like you're staying in balance.
Okay.
It's yeah.
Almost like a shield would work.
Yeah, it's like a mask, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure
A
when we get into
perception.
when we get into the third chakra and look at the identity, I'm sure that's what's going to show up. But it is like what I find in the aura is what is fully present for you in this moment. It's the thing
Okay.
that is most up for you in this moment. And
Hmm.
so there's a way in which you're trying to manage how other people see your process right now.
Right.
And, I don't know if I don't know, are you in the middle of a divorce?
Now, not. It feels to me like I've been at this fork in the road regarding that, this fork in the road for a while, trying to manage things and to, to a degree the perception of things and just being drained by the situation, but
Mhm.
not sure that, moving beyond a marriage is right for me,
Mhm.
like just constantly weighing things, right? So I feel like there's that
Okay.
drain,
Yeah.
but just feeling so stuck about it.
Okay.
That really, again, like all things are possible. What's the best case scenario? Can we get there? Where's the line? Like just always overthinking things.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot more sense for that juggler. That makes perfect sense for that juggler image. The So remember when I was talking to you about the possibilities and how to make your choices and what felt good in your body?
Mhm.
And you said that it makes you drained.
Mhm.
So that's just something to consider.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Anything else we need to talk about here? Hold on. No. Okay. Okay. So let's go into the seventh chakra. Okay. That's interesting. I always have to pay attention to what happens in my body when I do these things. And it's like, oh, neck is tense. Neck is very tense. What's going on here? So something associated with the seventh chakra is stressing you out. All right. So let's see what that is. Oh, you've got your crown chakra blocked. That's what is stressing you out. Okay. And look at the root. Yeah. Okay. So you're in what is known as protective mode. Well, I call it protective mode. I made that up, but it is valid.
Okay.
So what happens is when you feel under attack on a regular basis. So anytime you feel under attack, period, you will go into protective mode. You shut down your crown and root chakras so nothing can get into your energy field.
Okay.
And it's a valid protective space. But if you live in this space long term, you will become an energy vampire ultimately. Okay.
Hmm.
Because you have no way to access energy from the universe or from the earth. And therefore you have to like pull energy from other people in order to survive. Right.
Okay.
And so, there's a valid reason why this happens is because you're in a long-term situation where you don't feel safe. And
Mm.
so that happens for a lot of us in childhood. Sometimes it's a bad marriage. Sometimes it's, bullying in school, but it has to be a long-term thing in order for this to become an ongoing, solid pattern in your life. And so there is a quick fix to this. That's the good
Mhm.
news.
Okay.
And that is, there's a YouTube video on my site that's called the tree meditation. So if you
Okay.
go to my YouTube channel and you find just search for tree meditation Kelle Sparta and you'll find it.
Okay.
And that process is about actively learning how to open up your energy field to open your crown and open your root chakras. Okay.
Okay.
And then that will allow the energy to come through and that will keep you from having to be an energy vampire.
Okay.
Simple solution. So now the downside is that it takes a while to reestablish the pattern because
Mhm.
this has become your default pattern. And so you're going to have to spend 2, 3, 4 times a day for the next 4 to 6 weeks, really getting, it's a fast process. Once you learn how to do it, it takes you maybe 30 seconds to do the whole thing, but it'll take you 5
Okay.
to 10 minutes to do it when you're
Okay.
first getting started. So the more often you do it, the faster you'll become at it. I can do this in under 10 seconds in my own energy field because I've been doing it for so long, right?
Okay.
So it doesn't have to take a huge amount of time, but it does, I would recommend setting a reminder in your phone to do it, 4 times a day or something.
Okay.
Because the more often you do it, the better it resets your default energy.
Okay.
Okay. So basically you're just training your energy field to set this new default.
Okay.
Okay.
I could do
And
that.
then anytime you feel threatened, you're going to find that you got to do it again. Even if you've reset the default, it's going to be a default to that. And so you'll just need to consciously reopen it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that includes things like bad dreams or, start getting startled by something or, somebody
Hmm.
coming at your face, some Karen coming at your face on the street or whatever, that sort of thing. Anything like that will probably send you back into this space and you just do the tree meditation real quick and open it back up. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see here. What else? Not that. Okay. Nope. Let's look at the masculine. Okay, masculine energy looks really good. Got your
Okay.
planning and your structure down, so you're good to go there. You have flights of fancy into your mind on overdrive.
Okay.
So, flights of fancy isn't the right word. You have momentary visits into mind on overdrive. So, like
Okay.
you'll start thinking about something and you'll go about the thing but it's not all things all the time for you. It is
Okay.
just every so often if it feels almost like a panic response for you. Like it feels like it's a how do I say this? Mm, no. How do I say this? energy into words, very difficult sometimes. So when I say panic, I'm not talking about like panic,
Yeah, not the
right?
feeling, but
It's a so when you panic, you tend to go into a spin, right? Just everyone in general, when we panic, we go into a spin, right? This
mhm.
feels like that sort of spin, not based in panic, but
Mhm.
you go zoom, 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 and this, 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 and this in your mind. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I think I
All right.
understand where you're going.
All right. Good. Because my brain was like not giving me anything else on it. Anyway. um, but it's a piling on sort of energy,
Mhm.
right? So it's have you ever heard of Jan Van Zant talk about awfulizing?
No.
Okay, so awfulizing is the process of saying, oh, this isn't good, and that's not good, and that's not good, and
Oh,
this
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
good,
yeah,
and
yeah,
oh, and
yeah.
it's so much worse, and blah, 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 and how awful could it be? Blah, 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 right?
Mhm.
And it feels like that sort of energy. Okay.
Totally. I totally know
And
what you're saying. Yeah.
okay, all right, good. I knew I'd get there eventually. So
I just needed to get there.
I'm
I got
slow.
there. Now I'm with
Um,
you.
so I went out to a friend's birthday party last night, and she's Panamanian, and
Fun.
the party was supposed to start at 9, and she showed up at 9:30 or 10:30 rather. And then that began the party, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like half an hour past my bedtime. Still recovering. Anyway, um, okay, so we got the idea of the spin, 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 right? The
Mhm.
awfulizing, the adding on. And so what I'm gonna say is, for you, this energy of awfulizing, of piling on, it's almost like you're trying to build up momentum effect,
Right. But then I'm
right?
not maybe willing or ready or maybe I don't want to take that step. You know what I mean? Like I
Right,
get maybe I'm getting to that point and I'm being like, well, but this, well, but
right,
that, you know?
right. And so the thing that happens for you though is that this spinning energy reduces your vibration,
Mhm.
and it actually disempowers you in a lot of ways. Okay. So you feel like you're building momentum, and you're like, so there's a process. So we all have these things that we call tolerations, right? Where we're
Mhm.
tolerating things. And
Mhm.
if you're just living your life one day at a time, you hit one thing you're tolerating and you're like, ah, that sucks, whatever. But whatever, move on, right? But if you ever sit down and you look at all the tolerations at once, you go, well, shit, that's a lot of tolerations, right?
Right.
You're like, what am I doing? This is insane, right? And you start looking at them at that level. And so what you're trying to do with your spin on pylon is to do a toleration check.
Mhm.
And rather than doing it with this energy, the spin energy, if that's what you're going for, then sit down and make a list of all the things you're tolerating. Okay?
Okay.
Because that'll be healthier for you
Mhm.
than the energy, right?
Right. Right.
And it'll be, I feel like you have made a decision emotionally, and you're just trying to rationalize it with logic at this point, and your
Mm.
brain is like back and forthing on it. Having the tolerations list and seeing how short or long it is going to help you.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else in here? No. Anything else in this chakra? Something about communicating with your guides. Give me a second.
Hmm.
So it's hard for your guides to communicate with you when you've got your crown chakra shut down. So we'll start with that.
Right. Okay.
And your higher self in the same way, right? Because you're like, nope, not talking. Talk to the
Mm.
hand, right?
Right. Okay.
Um, but what is it they're trying to tell me? Hold on. Okay. So what they're telling me is that you are trying desperately to talk to them,
Mm.
but
Yes.
you're missing everything that they're saying to you,
Perfect.
right? It's like they tap you on the shoulder, and you're like turning around and going, what? And they're whispering in your ear, and you're going, what, so loud that you can't hear them whispering in your ear.
Okay.
Okay. So what they're saying is get still instead of like going looking for an answer, right?
Okay.
So they're saying, and be more open to it being what you don't expect.
Okay.
Right? So when my guides started talking to me more significantly, they would initially send me songs. I would end up with
Okay.
songs playing in my head. I would hear a song on the radio. I would see a billboard. I would, run into, some message. Somebody would say something randomly within earshot of me as they walked by. But all of these things were answers to my questions, right?
Okay.
So you really need to be more open to what's happening around you and to your own physicality. So like, when you're getting a truth sign, you get like chills all over your body, or you'll get tingles on your head, or your hands will get hot or something. There'll be
Okay.
sensations in your body. They give you answers.
Okay.
Um, and so part of it is just about learning how to listen effectively for them.
Okay.
And remember that the language of spirit is symbology.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We think that they're going to just talk to us, and eventually they will, but their initial conversation with you is going to be in symbols. So, you'll see a black cat walking under a ladder for bad luck, or, something like that, right? It's all in symbols.
Okay.
So the more you can familiarize yourself with the symbology of life, the better off you're going to be at talking to spirit. And so reading dream interpretation websites is a great way to do
Okay.
that. Taking a class taking a class in cinematography, how they do storytelling in media, right?
Right.
They use a lot of symbology. By the way, if you ever see somebody in red in a film, they're going to die, or somebody's going to die
Mm.
soon, because that's
Okay.
the science they use. So, that sort of thing. And then, there's universal symbols, there's cultural symbols, and then there's personal symbols.
Right.
So, universal symbols are for, life and death and sleep and waking, and, the things that all humans experience. In fact, most mammals, right? And then the cultural ones are things specific to your culture. So,
Hmm.
based on your accent, I'm going to assume you're in the US. Uh,
Yes.
and so in the US, if you're going to a funeral, you wear black. If you were in Asia, you would probably be wearing white. And so the symbols would
Hmm.
be different for those two cultures, two different
Right.
types of cultures. And so, there are cultural differences in symbology. And then personal symbols are, I had this experience and I associate it with this image in my head, and therefore this image means this to me, right?
Hmm.
And that's a personal symbol. So if you ever don't understand what your guides are saying, you say, "Hey, I don't get that. I don't get that. Explain it to me." Right? What does this
Right.
mean? Right?
Okay.
But they will default to working with visual symbols
Hmm.
because they are more robust than language.
Right.
There are many layers of meaning to every visual symbol, and oftentimes they mean all of them or some of them, and not just one of them.
Okay.
And so it's a more robust language.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Are you are you getting any name there, like related to the guide? Like is
Mm, I don't usually ask for those. I
okay.
haven't spent a lot of time getting names, but let me see. Are
Okay.
you so there's a lot of different guys. Do you have a specific one in mind?
I guess no. I
Okay.
guess not. No, there was there was a name, and I haven't, practiced any meditation as of recent, but there was a name that I thought maybe I had come across, but it was kind of unusual. So I was like, is that just planted in my brain because it's there, or
I would say that I would trust the name if you trust the energy that you got it from.
okay,
And so this is going to be the time to say that you definitely want to learn how to protect your space
okay,
before you start trying to reach out to your guides. Because
okay,
if you don't know how to protect your space and say, okay, only the people who have my highest and best good are allowed in this room right now, right?
right,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
set a barrier for everything else,
hmm,
then there's always the risk that something that wants to mess with you is going to come in and claim to be a guide. I've had that happen with clients of mine before where, they set their circle for the first time, or they set their wards on their house for the first time, and they find their
hmm,
spirit guide outside then pissed off. And they're like,
Oh,
oh, they're so mad. It's like, yes, because they're not a guide. And
I
I've
see.
just unmasked them and
Mm,
all the work they did in trying to manipulate you, right?
okay, gotcha.
So if you trust, so this is the other reason why I don't really do a lot of work with names. And, I
Mhm.
had somebody early on in my work be like, oh, if you don't know their name, then you're not actually talking to them. And I'm like, I know their energy field, and that's more valid
Mm,
than any name is going to be. That in
right.
actuality, if you're dealing with a spirit who has never been embodied, or one that is attached to the name that they had before they came onto the planet, right? Which could be from another planet, could be from, the astral plane, whatever. We probably can't pronounce it. Okay.
Okay.
It's like, it's not a word,
Here.
right? Yeah. So, and oftentimes, if they're giving you an actual name, it's a name they've made up to be able to tell you what it is, right?
Okay.
Because they if they've never been embodied, they don't have a name, right? Because
Oh,
it's
okay.
different there, right? It's they have a energy signature, right? And which
I
is
see.
what I'm tapping into, and people just are like, yeah, I know you. Hey, I know you. I don't need to call you by name. I know your energy signature, right? It's that. And it's the same thing. It's like, this wasn't your name last life. It won't be your name next life. So, the energy signature is the thing that's consistent, right?
Right. Okay.
So that sort of thing. Anyway, so, sometimes if we feel like we need a name, they will give us a name.
Mhm. Okay.
I have a name for one of my guides. Oh, actually, she's an angel. So, but it was, because 25 years ago, I felt like I needed a name for her.
Okay.
I was like, and so she gave me a name, and everything else, I'm just like, whatever.
Okay.
So, and it's a weird name. It was Tulita, right? Weird name.
Hmm.
Never heard that name before in my life.
Right, right.
Always fun when something surprises you. Here's the thing. If you've never heard the name before and it just arrives in your head, that's probably your guides talking to you. Because,
Okay.
it's like, where would I have come up with that? Right?
Right, right, right.
Anytime
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
surprised, you're getting a message from the outside, because you can't surprise yourself.
Fair enough.
Okay. 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 So let's see here. Anything else here? No, that's everything in this chakra. Let's come down to the sixth chakra. So the sixth chakra, so the crown chakra is about connection to the universe and your guides, and all of that stuff. The third
Mhm.
eye is your sixth chakra, and it's about your intuition and fears around your power, connection to trust in the universe, things like that. Um, and so I'm going to look at the transmitter and the receiver on your third eye. Okay.
Okay.
So the transmitter is what we use when we ask a question and we go out to the Akashic records or to somebody else's brain, if we're doing that, telepathy
Right.
or anything, remote viewing, anything like that, we do through our third eye. And then we bring the information back, and that's the transmitter cycle, right? And
Mhm.
then the receiver is what you think of as your intuition. It's what you just sort of generally pick up from the world around you, right? So I
Okay.
recently thought of a client I haven't worked with in a few years, and I reached out to her and I was like, "Hey, how are things going?" She's like, "How did you know?" I'm like, "You've been on my mind for the last
Right.
week." So my
Knock,
intuition
knock,
was
knock.
telling me to reach out, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Of course," right? So that's the sort of thing that an intuition piece would be. It's the thing that just sort of tells you, pay attention to this. Okay. So, all right. So let's check your transmitter first. Okay, so what's happening with your transmitter is you send it out, and I feel like the energy keeps going out, but somehow disconnects from your third eye after it gets out a little ways. So, like, it'll go out from here, and then this part in between disappears, but the
Okay.
energy keeps going and picks up the information, but it doesn't connect back in on the other side either. So it's
Huh.
like you're, and I'm trying, so that's what I'm saying. Let me see if I can figure out why that is. Hold on.
Hmm.
Yeah, so there's this, you have this push me pull you on psychic abilities.
Mhm.
And it's like, I could do that. And then you go to do it and you go, maybe I can't do that.
Okay.
And so it's like you disconnect from the thing. And because
Mhm.
you disconnected from it, even though it's still going out because you put enough energy to it to make it go out, it doesn't connect back in because you're not open to connecting it back in because you've decided that you're not sure you can do it. And
Okay.
so it's a push me pull you going on with you. So what I'm going to say there, this is a quick fix. Okay. So the quick fix is suspend your disbelief. You don't
Okay.
have to believe it. You just have to suspend your disbelief in it.
Okay.
Okay. Treat it like a curiosity. Okay. Be like, hey, I wonder if this works. Ah, I don't know. Let's test it and see. This will be a fun game. Right.
Okay.
Right. And so just, and then don't question it while you're doing it.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing that broke that pattern for me was I got cornered into doing readings for a room full of people that I didn't
Okay.
know. And I was like, right. And like, and I didn't even have my tarot cards with me. I had nothing. I had to cold read. And I'm like, oh my
Okay.
God. Right. And the thing that got me over it was saying, okay, I'll do this, but with the understanding that absolutely everything that comes out of my mouth is probably wrong. And they went, okay. And I nailed it for everybody.
Okay.
And I
Nice.
scared the crap out of myself. I was like, I have no way. I'm like looking at all these people trying to figure out how I know these things about them. I'm looking for like little things. Like one of the guys was a painter and he looked like a corporate executive. And he
Huh.
was a house painter. And I'm like, are there speckles of paint on his shoes? You know, I'm trying to find anything that my subconscious mind would have picked up on.
Right.
And I'm like, no, there's nothing. I'm like, oh my God. Right. So, but that's the piece that's coming into play for you is this sort of thing. So
Okay.
keep that in mind. Okay. Suspend your disbelief. All right, let's look at the receiver. Okay, receiver's wide open. So
Okay.
you are pretty intuitive in that regard. So that actually looks really good. It's not what I expected to find. So
Something positive, finally.
hey, go team.
We'll take it.
So no, the receiver's wide open. You're doing well there. Everything looks good. Okay, so let's look at oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, this I expected based on the transmitter issue. So there is some fear of your own power going on in here.
Okay.
And so with this, let me see what yours is based in. Hold on. Okay. So this feels like you're doing penance. So sometimes you're laughing. What's that about?
I don't know.
The
No, I just thought it was a funny phrase because
okay.
you do feel like that sometimes for sure.
Yeah. So sometimes when we come into our powers initially, it's when we're like teenagers or preteens or whatever.
Mhm.
And while we're trying to figure out what the edges of our power is, right?
Mhm.
How far it can go, we cross boundaries, ours or someone else's. And
Okay.
we get in trouble for that one way or
Mhm.
another. Either we've
Okay.
blown ourselves up or, somebody's hurt feelings are hurt and they get angry at us. And then we put ourselves in the timeout box and we do penance. And
Okay.
we don't remember to take ourselves back out. And so, I'll be like, well, how long have you been doing penance? And they're like, 25 years. I'm like, for
Mm.
something you did when you were 13, do you think that is fair? They're like, well, I can't be trusted. I'm like, but you put yourself in penance for 20 years. I kind of think that means you can,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Because a truly bad person would not have cared that somebody else got upset and
Right.
they would not have put themselves in a penance box, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, maybe not so much for that, right? Maybe it's
Okay.
time to let yourself out. So, and I feel like you may or may not even remember this, but regardless, take yourself out of the box.
Okay.
Okay. There's nothing to be doing penance for. There's no, you can be trusted. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's only those who can be trusted will put themselves in the box.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
because that's the true penitence, right? It's like, oh, I feel bad about it. Yeah, I made a mistake.
Okay.
I feel bad about it. I'm trying to make up for it. The person who I did damage to doesn't even know I exist anymore. But I'm still doing penance, right?
All right.
Okay. So anything else in this section? There's anything else in the piece here? Nope, that's really the thing. All right, and so let's take a look at your trust in the universe piece. Because typically when we put ourselves in the penance box, it's because we don't trust ourselves. When we don't trust ourselves, it undermines our trust in the universe because you are the universe and the universe is you.
Right.
And so I feel like you have a lot of conscious ways in which you actively choose to trust in the universe, but there is some underpinning there of, but what if it abandons me, right? If it feels like, what if it drops me? And it's not even a conscious thought so much as a dread under the surface.
Okay.
It's a, can I do this? Sort of a, and when you're consciously in it, you're fine. But when you're not consciously in it, this shows up.
Okay.
And it's related to this penance piece.
Okay.
And see, I can't be trusted. Therefore, there's a part of the universe that can't be trusted. Right. And so they reflect each other. So when you do the work on the penance piece, that's going to start to clear up. And you're going to find that the universe is doing more for you than it has been in the past.
Okay.
Because the universe responds to however we hold ourselves and it. And so, it's our partner. It's not our parent. It's our partner. And so it gives us whatever we are resonating with.
Yes, I'm having that realization as I'm older.
Yeah, trust me. So, anything else here? No, that's everything there. Okay. All right, let's come down into the throat chakra. So, I always get this physically. Back to twisting the neck again. Interesting. Back and forth. And nothing with the mouth at all. Okay. So this feels like the same energy. The back and forth with the head feels like the same energy of the having the shutdown in the crown. That's exactly the same thing I was doing before. But the energy is less tension now. There's actually less tension in my neck and shoulders as a result of, whatever, being in this energy, as opposed to the other one where I was super tight. Okay. And so this feels more like a checking in, waffling energy, like back and forth, right? And then in and out, the head was going forward and back, right? Which is like, I'm going to say something, I'm not going to say something. I'm going to say something, I'm not going to say something. That energy.
Okay.
And at no time did the mouth open.
Hmm.
So it's like I'm preparing to say something, but I'm pulling back before my mouth even opens. Haven't even gotten the energy to come out. Haven't gotten my mouth to open. I'm just like, and nope. And nope. Right? It's that sort of energy. And I feel like that goes back to the whole conversation we were having about your marriage earlier, right? Because this is about self-expression, right? And the, will I, won't I, will I, won't I, open, close, open, close. It's this whole waffle thing going on.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see here. Not that, but it's related to that. What is it? Hold on. You guys have been married a long time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, reasonably long.
More than 10 years?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm looking for patterns that I'm used to seeing, right? Because I've done like 3,000 of these things. So at some point I was like, oh, look, these are the patterns that show up over and over again, right? And what I went looking for was the dependence and asking for permission block. And that's a child block. That's the, I'm relying upon you energy. And that is not what I saw, but what was related to it it's more of a, so I don't know if you know this, but in long-term relationships, what happens is the couples split up who remembers what. So
What if
like,
nobody remembers ever?
well, but
No, I'm kidding. I'm
yeah.
kidding.
So one person will remember the big picture and the other one will remember the details, or, something like that, right?
Okay.
And so when you split a long-term relationship, you are literally losing half of the memories,
Okay.
right? And so the that's what it feels like it's relating to. So I hit the dependence piece and I was like, oh, that's interesting, but it's not a childlike pattern and it's not a financial dependence thing that's showing up. I was like, what is this? It feels like it's the other person holds something that you don't hold, right?
Okay.
And that is, and this is the image that they gave me. So if that's not actively resonating, it's this symbol, right? It's that he has something that you don't have and you won't have if you guys split. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So that's the thing that's showing up as a block in here. And so
Mhm.
the idea is to find a way to replace that
Okay.
for yourself, and that'll help you to make a choice, right?
Okay.
Because it takes it off the table as an issue, right?
Okay.
So even if you choose to stay, at least you've taken that off the table as a potential issue, right?
Okay.
Okay. And then I do have some people pleasing communication going on here. It feels more like it's always conflict avoidance, right? People pleasing
Mm,
communication is, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear rather than what's true for me, because I
okay.
don't feel like fighting about it, right?
Okay.
Now, remember that every time you choose not to speak your truth, you are actively destroying the relationship because
Okay.
you're not relating.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So I understand that sometimes it's not worth the fight, but you also have to remember that it means that you're pulling out of the relationship when you do that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's see what else is in here.
Uh,
Shit. I lost her. She's gone. I think her phone just died. We'll wait. We may have to edit this part out. There she goes.
oh, sorry
There,
about that.
you lose your battery.
No, I don't know what happened. I lost the I couldn't hear you and then it just dropped. So I apologize.
No worries. So, yeah, so I said that there's some hiding your true self and unwilling to be vulnerable in here.
Okay.
Okay. Which is, given what you're talking about, that's not surprising.
Mhm.
But it is a defensive posture. And John Gottman wrote about the four horses of the apocalypse for a marriage,
Okay.
and defensiveness is one of them.
Mm, okay.
So let me see, it's criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, and brain no worky. Look them
Mm,
up. Google.
okay.
Google will give you the answer.
Okay.
But yeah, defensiveness is an active horse of the apocalypse for marriage. So you want to pull yourself out of that mode if you are wanting to stay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then let's see here. Nope, everything else looks right on par. So you're good to go. Okay. So let's come down into the heart chakra.
Mhm.
Good energy flow.
Okay.
Interesting. For the state that you're in, I expected your receiving to be blocked, but it's not on the heart, on giving and receiving love. You're
Okay.
you got really good flow there. All's going well. I don't see any problems around betrayal. We've got some grief showing up in here.
Okay.
But it's grief, not like grief of a loss of a person, but grief
Uh-huh.
of not getting what you need.
Okay.
Okay. It's
Yeah, I
that
get
level of
that.
grief. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's in there. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. So it's clear to me from this that it's not that you feel like you're not that your husband doesn't love you. It does That's not what the issue is, right? Because the energy is still actively flowing here. You're receiving it, you're giving it, there's not a problem there. So it's other things that are in the way.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and that's hard. My first marriage was like that. I had to we clearly still loved each other, but we were not suited, right?
Hmm.
It was a hard decision to make. So,
Okay.
because there was no like catastrophic, except that I was miserable and he was miserable. And then I'm
Right.
like we've tried to fix it and we're not fixing it and you know
Right.
what? Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So, anything else in this chakra? This is probably the clearest heart chakra I've ever seen.
Wow.
Wow. Well done.
Who knew?
Who knew? Evidently you.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's come down into the third chakra. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at the identity piece, and what I'm seeing is it's almost like you really just don't know who you are anymore. It's like, you've twisted yourself into a pretzel so much to try and make yourself into who you think he wants you to be that
Hmm.
that you've sort of lost track of who you actually are. And you're trying to like pull that out now.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Who
do
is this
feel
person?
like
Yeah.
in part going through the whole motion of marriage and kids and the expectation, of course, that would go with, all that entails,
Mm.
that, who we were before that and who we are now are such different people. For
Yes.
me, I'm like, well, which direction should I go in now? Like, I think that evolution is good, but I need to figure out me. I need to accept responsibility for me and just kind of feel out what's next for me in
Yeah.
this life.
And that would be the place that I would encourage you to come at it from. A lot of people, when they lose their identity in this way,
Hmm.
they try to go back to who they were before they were in the relationship, and that is so not the person that they could ever be
Right,
again, right?
right. Don't go
And so
backwards.
you can't go backwards. It's not possible. And so, the key is to come at it from the place that we were talking about, what brings your energy up, as opposed
Right,
to neutral or down, right?
right.
And so, okay, so what they're saying to me in this moment is to not to put the decision on pause,
Okay.
right? And to just be with what you want to do and who you want to be. And then see, once you know that, then
Hmm.
you can revisit this decision because it'll be more evident whether or not it's feasible to stay, right?
Okay. All right.
Because yeah, they're saying that that's why you haven't been willing to make a decision, is because you aren't clear about who you are and where you want to go.
Right.
And until you know that, there's
Next
no,
step. There's no,
yeah,
yeah.
there's no way to know whether or not it's the two are compatible,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's actually kind of what happened with me too, which is interesting now that I think about
And we share a birthday.
it. Do we?
Yes, we do. You're the first, right? November 1st?
Yes.
Yes. I
Another
remember
birthday.
catching that. Yeah, I caught that on
That's
one of your podcasts. I
awesome.
was like, oh.
It's the birthday, not birth date, because I'm much older than you. But
Oh, you might be surprised.
oh, I thought you said 40. So,
Well, 42 now. So
oh, okay.
not that I should be putting that out there, but
You're the ultimate answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, baby. You should absolutely be putting that out there.
oh, I like that. I like
That's
that.
from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you haven't read it, you should read it. It's hysterical. So,
Okay.
no, I'm 55. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, where were we? Identity. Okay. Yeah. So we've got that. And then let's go in and look at the inner child here. Okay. So your inner child is having an I'm too tired meltdown face down on the floor.
Oh, interesting.
She's having that sleepy baby. I don't want to go to sleep for a nap, but I can't stay awake, but I want to be here, but I'm so right. It's that, face down
Okay.
on the floor. "Ah, I can't do it anymore." Right. So she's there. And it's inherently the sleepy baby meltdown is about wanting to wanting your wants and your needs conflicting.
Okay.
Right. I want to stay awake. I want to be part of everything. I got serious FOMO, but my body is just too tired, and my body is insisting that I sleep, and I'm not happy about it. Right? It's the conflict of wants and needs going on. So, and the wants trying to win out over the needs, and the needs going. This is about as you're coming into your body, and this is a common theme for you, is about getting embodied, right?
Okay.
We've been talking about the embodiment piece and feeling into your answers and things like that.
Hmm.
And as you come back into your body, you need to temper your wants
Okay.
to nurture your needs, right? To take
Okay.
care of your needs, because you have a tendency to sort of override, which, mothers, right? It's like we
Mm.
don't get to be tired, right? It's that, well, I say we, I'm not a mother, but
Yeah.
as a mother, you don't get to be tired. You have to just deal with what's there, right?
Right. Right.
And so part of this is about learning how to take care of yourself and nurture yourself again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, picking up the inner child off the floor and cuddling her and saying, I know you want to do this, but you're really tired. And I promise you can have ice cream when you wake up, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like that sort of thing. So, and I just went, we made ice cream. So, brain. So, okay. And then, all right. So that's what's going on there. Yeah. So part of this is also she's just overdone, because what happens when we get into spaces where we try to push too hard is that we get overwhelmed. And when we
Hmm.
get overwhelmed, our inner child comes up and sits in the driver's seat and tries to take over driving, but they can't reach the pedals and they can't see over the dash. So they're
Okay.
trying, but they feel incompetent. And then we feel incompetent. And then we lack clarity. And then we get frustrated. And then we have the meltdown face down on the floor, right?
Mm.
So part of this is about learning to take that inner child out of the driver's seat. So anytime you're feeling overwhelmed or you feel like you lack clarity, you should know that your inner child's in the driver's seat.
Okay.
Okay. So the answer to that is to just take a break, step away, calm down, take a little
Okay.
stillness, take a little quality time with yourself, and have a conversation with your inner child and say, what a great job you did running the bus. Why don't you go play in the back? Right? There are
Okay.
toys in the back of the bus. Go play. Right.
I
And
like
then,
it.
sit back down in the driver's seat again. So, all right. Okay, everything with those things. Yes. Okay, so let's look for any blocks to our personal power here. Okay, so there's definitely some not good enough going on here.
Hmm.
That's one of the most common blocks I come across.
Okay.
So it's well, you said you were stepping into some new spaces with the spirituality stuff, and so
Hmm.
you're inherently going to feel incompetent when you step into a new space, because you are, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing here. I've never been here before, therefore I lack competency. And if you were in a space where that was okay, that'd be great. But for most of us, we're like, oh, I'm supposed to know everything about everything. And so I suck
Right.
because I'm incompetent. And then you start like trying to read everything you possibly can. And you just trust me, 50 years I've been studying this stuff. I haven't read it all. Okay.
Okay.
There's no way to read it all. Okay. That is not the answer to competency in this space. Okay. Practice is the answer to competency in this space, not knowledge. Okay.
Okay.
And so yeah, inner work and practice. So
Okay.
yeah, that's part of it, is not needing to. That's the other piece too, is that I always tell people that the very first thing you need to do when you step into this work is you need to give up the goal,
Okay.
because the goal exists in the future and
Okay.
all the work is done in the present.
Okay.
And so when I'm saying give up the goal, I mean it's fine to be like, yeah, this is sort of the direction I'm going in, but you can't be attached to that because your direction will change over time as you
Right.
evolve and grow and experience more. You may be like, oh, I don't want to go there anymore. I want to go over here instead, right?
Right. Right.
But also it's about it. Even if you do end up wanting to go there and end up getting there, it's about giving up the attachment to the goal.
Okay.
Because when you're attached to it, you're clinging on to it so much that you're not in the present moment.
Right. And you're missing all the other.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the journey is the important part, which of course everybody tells you, and you go, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. And what does that mean? Because I remember thinking that. I'm like, it's like, okay, be with the thing in the moment. I'm like, but what do I do with it? You be with it is the answer.
Yeah.
Is you
Right.
be with it.
Okay.
You don't do anything with it. You be with it, which is very frustrating when you're just getting started. So, but yeah, so there's that. And then, okay, what else is in here? No, that's not there. A little bit of the martyr stuff going on. It's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself on the altar of everyone else's happiness, right?
Mm,
And that's about
I've
changing.
done that.
Yeah. Well, I think every mother on the planet's done that, but
Yeah.
that's about changing your priority list and making yourself top of your own priority list instead of bottom.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I'm
So,
working on that.
yeah. Okay. So there is some not wanted, not important energy in here as well. The not
Mm,
important piece is, again, you've been bottom of your own priority list, so therefore you've treated yourself as not important, therefore you feel unimportant, right?
mm,
And then you'll project that onto other people. Well, you don't care about me, I'm not important to you, whatever, right? And
okay.
that'll be anything from, somebody cutting you off in traffic and going, "Why didn't you see me? Why didn't you take care of me?" Right? To
Ah,
pointing at your partner and going, "You don't care," right? It can be anything in between that we project it out on. And then the not wanted piece feels like the sexual connection with you and your partner right now.
okay.
So that's, yeah, which, when you're in a weird dynamic, that's not surprising either. So,
Mm,
um, but that piece is, again, this is a moment to internalize it instead of externalize it, right?
okay.
So to allow yourself to be the one who wants you rather than
Okay.
relying on someone else to want you,
Okay.
right? It's an internalization of the process that solves
Yeah.
the problem because then your happiness isn't dependent upon someone else's actions,
Okay.
okay? Or intentions or desires or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anything else in this one? No. Okay. Let's come down into the second chakra. Second chakra is pretty shut down. So,
Okay.
given what we were talking about a minute ago, not terribly surprising. It is the chakra for sexuality, sensuality, creativity, and it's where our addictions, attachments, shame, blame, guilt, all these things live. Okay.
Mm,
And so I've got very little energy running through this chakra right now. Are you
yeah.
by any chance menopausal?
No, but
Okay.
I mean, I did notice that, you know, in these terms, like that chakra shutting down, which I think has just been like the long term, like you said, the piling things on,
Yeah.
right? So that happening and really just kind of shutting all things, a lot of things down,
Yeah.
um just from being in that place for so long,
Yeah.
and I do think that, that things are getting better, and part of that, for me, has been actually, it was really interesting that what you said before about the these, having being in a long-term relationship, you have these memories, the other person has the other, and just that was interesting and really resonated because look at things through different lenses, and that I'm looking at things this way and feeling these things, and you're looking at things this way and you're feeling completely different, and just again being back into that whole repetitive cycle. So I do think that that's part of maybe why the chakra is so shut down, because
Yeah.
normally that wouldn't be the case. you know.
Right. Okay. So there is some attachment energy going on here. So attachment is where we look at something or someone and we say, this is the only way to fulfill my needs. I
Mm,
must have it or them.
okay.
Okay. Attachment can become obsession when it's runs
Hmm,
wild with panic, right?
okay.
And so did you guys get together when you were really young?
Not really. I mean, oh my gosh, maybe I was like 21.
Oh, that's pretty young. Okay. So I'm going to guess that you were not in a great emotional space at the time.
I mean, I was like, footloose and fancy free at that point in my life, but I do feel that I've been, excuse me, very, very blessed and kind of coasted through things in life, and so grateful for that. So I don't remember being in a bad headspace, but I also like wasn't really examining my life that way. But you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it just having fun, going through the motions, doing work and jobs and meeting people and
Yeah. Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's some attachment here that is, I need you for this. There's that sort of energy of I need you for this, right?
Okay.
And so that would be something to just sort of sit down and have some time to sit and think about and feel into the energy of need.
Yeah.
Because there's something in there that there's not enough energy in here for me to read a lot of it because it's all
Okay.
just sort of like, right. But if you sit with that energy, it'll show up for you.
Okay.
Okay. So,
I'm gonna
all right.
write that down.
Okay. No, that's what I have in this chakra. Okay. Let's come down into the root. Okay, we already know we've got the shut off root chakra. That's interesting. What was that? So I was just testing the energy to see if I could pull the energy up through the root chakra, and I got this like twinge in my head, like the
Hmm,
shooting pain. So there's something, it's still related to the crown chakra thing. So, but it's in the temple, which is interesting. So I feel like there is a steel plate under your feet.
okay.
And so what that means is that there's someone in your life that you've handed permission to disapprove of your life and pull your feet out from underneath you. So if they
Okay.
disapprove, it's like you land on your ass, right? It's like woof. And so that's a function of living your life by your values, but allowing yourself to be judged by someone else's.
Okay.
Okay, which by the way is a recipe for misery. Okay. So yeah, one set of values, period. Yeah. Okay. So that the solution to that is just to revoke permission, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
it's usually a parent, but
Okay.
this feels like it was a parent and your partner took over the role,
Hmm.
which is
Okay.
interesting. So yeah. Okay, let's look here. Fears around safety and security. What do we have? Nah, we're good. All right. Oh, look at you. You've got quite the tribe. Yeah, you got a good support structure.
Oh, good. Good.
No. So yeah, that looks good. Let's see here. Let's look at your manifestation bubble. Hmm. Okay. So your manifestation bubble, when I go to look at it, the first thing I get is that sensation of being on the unicycle, on the board, on the round thing, on the ball,
Okay.
right? And it's again going back to that sense of trying to find balance, right? Being
Okay.
like, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, and I can't find a solid foundation from which to create the
Okay.
manifestation, right?
Mhm.
And so your manifestation, I mean, it's moving up your chakras, but it's very slow because you're
Okay.
like, I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm forward, I'm backward, I don't know, right? There's all of that. So the encouragement is if you're looking for an improvement in your manifestations, then what you're going to need to
Mhm.
do is find more solidity and find a place to stand firmly. And
Right.
this again is about that identity piece, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I definitely feel I'm at that point where once again in life, I have an opportunity to kind of shift that identity and really, take back some of which when you have kids, of course, like you give yourself to, right?
Right.
So now I'm at a point where I can take some of that back and bring it back into me,
Right.
which I'm getting from you. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, so the upshot here, and this is true for identity shift. So what you're going through right now is what I call foundational deconstruction.
Okay.
Okay? So you're literally taking apart your current sense of self and bringing into form a new sense of self. So I'm going to
Hmm.
give you some of the pitfalls and some of the instructions for how to walk through this process, okay? So
Okay.
the pitfalls are that, if you go deep enough, you start ripping out the foundations of your existence, right? And
Okay.
therefore you lose any sense of where to stand, right? Which is,
Okay.
I can tell that's coming because of the visual, right?
Oh, oh
Of
God.
the juggler, right? So you're in the process of yanking all that stuff out. So
Okay.
when you get to that state, and
Hmm.
how much you do and how much of this applies to you depends on how much you do. I'm hardcore and I just rip crap out. So when I did this process, 20 some years ago, I don't know, 5 years ago maybe, the what happened to me is I became an airhead, right? I lost grounding. My
Okay.
brain was not processing properly. I was not safe to drive. I lost the edges of my being. Like I didn't know where my edges were, so I'd run into door frames when I was trying to
Oh
walk through the
gosh.
door, or, stuff like that. I lost all sense of my ability to do rote tasks. So I would get out of the shower with shampoo in my hair. I would forget to put toothpaste on my toothbrush and brush my teeth and be like, "What's wrong with this picture?" Right? It's like everything became something I had to consciously focus on. There were no more rote tasks because my entire beingness was trying to figure out where the next step was to get through my physical reality. Like, where do I put my foot down to walk? Right? Was
Okay.
that level because I had pulled up so much of my foundation. Now,
Okay.
I haven't run across many people who have done it at that level, so it probably won't be that bad for you,
Oh,
but it
good.
could. Okay, but
Okay.
if you know you're not safe to drive, don't drive. Okay,
Ah.
and so but these are the types of things that can happen because you've lost your sense of self, right?
Hmm.
Now, here's the thing: when you are in that state, you're going to feel like you need to reinstate new rules.
Okay.
Okay. And you're going to need to pick who you're going to be. Don't do it.
Okay.
Okay. You don't want to do that because whatever you consciously choose in that space, you will be choosing from what you know, which is your previous self.
Okay.
Right. And so you're going to
Okay.
limit your transformation by making a choice too soon.
Okay.
Instead, what you want to do is you want to be patient and you want
Hmm.
to wait for things to coalesce on their own.
Okay.
Okay. So
I
don't
like
go
that.
trying to make a decision. Don't go try to land something in the ground and, put a new cornerstone in and whatever, because you're going to be surprised what things get left out of the new foundation.
Okay.
Okay. I will tell you that when I did this, I was shocked that my need to get things done perfectly got left out. It had been a cornerstone of the previous sense of self. Okay.
Okay.
And it was just not even in the new foundation. I was like, but but I had just cleared the work around perfectionism, right?
Okay.
And that was actually a function of perfectionism. And I just didn't know it yet. But part of me knew because it didn't put it back in, right?
Okay. All
So
right.
you got to trust yourself to evolve into it rather than trying to control the process.
Okay.
Because the control will come from the previous you, which will make you more into the back. It'll drag you more
Okay.
backwards than forward.
I like that. Evolve into it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions about anything we've talked about so far?
No, I think I'm with you. I'm with you
Okay.
still. Perfect.
Okay. So then your themes are to get back into your body, right? To
Okay.
really start doing that. Let go of trying to make a decision and let go of trying to figure out who you're going to become, and instead allow yourself to evolve into it
Okay.
and allow yourself to feel into things and go, do I want this? Yes.
Okay.
Or no, right? It's like, how
Right.
do I feel about it? What would I love? Right? Catherine is fond of saying, what would I love, if you've been listening
Uh,
to Spirit Guides? And, what would I love? Just ask that question. What would I love right now? Don't make it too hard. It doesn't have to be a life-changing experience. I would love coffee or tea, right?
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
love hot chocolate, right? Whatever it is, right? I would love a hug. I would love to sit and be left alone for 20 minutes, whatever,
Yeah.
right? What is it, right? What would you love? And
All
to
the
just
above.
ask yourself these very small questions and be with your answers and don't judge them. Just
Okay.
accept them, right? Up
Okay.
energy, medium energy, low energy,
hmm
meh energy, no, low energy, right? Either way. So, okay. And so those are your themes. And those are I think those are pretty easy to grasp. It's more of a practice than a doing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, the doingness is getting your crown and root chakras back open again, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Practice a couple times a
Practice
day. Yes.
four times a day
Yes. For 3 to 4 weeks.
or 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to so close. 4 to 6 weeks. Perfect. Um,
Basically, you're going to do it until consistently each time you check in, you find that it's already pulled in.
okay.
And
Okay.
you find that it's already running properly.
Okay.
Right.
I can do
Have you
that.
done the Boundaries for Empaths program on the website?
I think I did. I think
Okay.
I did. Yes. And that
Because
was
if you're
about
gonna,
pulling in your energy
yes.
field. And yes.
Yeah. So what I would do if I were you is as you're checking your energy for the tree meditation, you could also check
hmm
your boundaries at the same time. And you can do both practices at the same time, super simple. And you want your defaults to be that your energy is pulled in and that your energy is flowing. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. Trying to think if I had any other thoughts. No, I mean, I appreciate what you do, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
But definitely, definitely a lot to work with, and I understand what you're saying, and why and what it is, and it gives me a better perspective and something, to lean into and to work with.
Yeah. Okay, good. So valuable.
Yes, very, very much so.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so then we will call this complete. Guys, thanks for listening all the way to the end. You are rock stars for hanging in. And don't forget that what you focus on expands, what you intend is what you create. So choose wisely. Have a great one.